Kamala Harris voters can call their therapist now and book an appointment, because I'm going to give you facts and reasons that you know Trump wins.
Look, I try to stay as objective as possible with myself, Sean. I think there's two possibilities here. One is we all have our heads stuck in our own algorithmic echo chambers, or Donald Trump is going to win this decisively. And I truly think it's going to be the latter. I've gone on the ground in Pennsylvania, across the country. I see an energy, especially from demographic groups that have historically gone Democrat, including young people, including Gen Z, coming our way. I love those early vote numbers.
Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. You found the Doug TenNapel channel. Thank you for subscribing while we last.
Sense of the early vote is, it is not as disastrous as it was in the first 3 days for the Democrats, but it's still really bad. And the Harris campaign has done a great job of spinning the national media on it.
The national media is, of course, under tutelage of the Democrat Party. They do what they say, and they're part of this massive gaslighting, massive brainwashing campaign where you will not know the facts if you listen to mainstream media.
Goat's milk latte drinking, avocado toast eating. Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid.
You can listen to us. We're alternative media.
There's two categories of people in the States.
There's actually three categories. He misses one. This first one is the number of women, young women, who are not showing up in urban centers to vote.
Female turnout for Kamala Harris is down compared to those that turned out early for Joe Biden in 2020 as well.
Now, why would females not turn out for Kamala Harris when she's a female?
He will be a protector of women, and it's why I'm voting for him. He will close the border. He will keep the boys out of girls' sports and where they don't belong. And you know what else? One more thing. He will look out for our boys, too. Our forgotten boys and our forgotten men. Guys like you. Guys like these guys who've got the calluses on their hands.
And they did show up for Biden in early voting, and he's a dirty, filthy male.
There's more junior people who don't lie about the data and what it means. What you have now is tons of senior Democrats are in the states. They're door knocking, like people who've run presidential campaigns are literally going to Michigan and Pennsylvania and door knocking. And those people are honest with me because they're worried.
Major heads in Democrat Party are door knocking. That's how bad it is. They've run out of troops to send out. Oh, there's thousands of people out door knocking, but they have even senior executives within the Democrat Party out door knocking. That's how desperate they are. That's how close they believe it is. And the two states that he gave it away, Michigan and Pennsylvania, and I believe Trump has Pennsylvania.
I have been everywhere. We've been in Pennsylvania, of course, but I've done campaign events in over 260 cities across 40 states. We did 2 in Virginia yesterday. We've been all over the place. So there are people coming to the events, Rachel, that have never been there before. And I think the Hispanic and Latino vote is going to be historic this time. I think there's going to be a demographic shift. I think they're coming our way because they see the Democratic Party has abandoned the values of the community. And they've opened the border wide, and that frustrates that community as much as anybody. I think this is going to be a big one. We're going to make history here.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think is going to happen in this state of Pennsylvania?
I think we can win Pennsylvania. Is Trump going to win Pennsylvania?
But that also shows that they believe Michigan is in danger.
Compared to Biden's lead in 2020, it's going to be problematic for her. What is the biggest indication that we've seen that the early vote is a problem for her? It's Jim Messina talking to Jen Psaki.
Okay, what's their biggest concern right now if you're the Harris team?
Well, look, I think it's a couple things. The early vote numbers are a little scary, and you and I have been texting back and forth. Republicans didn't do what they did last time. Last time Trump said don't early vote, and so they didn't.
I believe that's the biggest change in this year, and we covered Trump saying get out and vote early. This was at the beginning of the year. So you can trust us on that. It was significant. The message got out. And I believe that's the biggest factor in why Trump lost in 2020, was that there was this superstition among Republicans that you vote day of, because you hear us say that over and over again. I know that's the preference, but we didn't do it this time, and it's going to secure Trump's win. But this guy, Messina, is a big Democrat, rah, go, and he's saying the early numbers are scary.
Republicans do have an advantage in early vote numbers. When the early vote come in, it's going to look a little bit different than 2020, and that's scary.
So Dan, decode that for people who aren't familiar with Jim Messina. How scary is it that Jim Messina says it's scary?
It's scary.
Oh, decoded. Thank you for that. In case you didn't hear it, that's another Democrat on the Halperin show. In case you didn't hear the theme of this show, to the Democrats, the votes they're seeing coming in early, it's scary.
I mean, it's brutal honesty. You look at every major urban center in the swing states, and there is not one.
Urban turnout is down compared to where it was in 2020.
Not Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Phoenix, where Democrats are doing well.
That's every urban center in the swing states are underreporting by hundreds of thousands of votes that they had in 2020. So there's a lack of excitement. Kamala could not get enough excitement and hatred for Trump like they did in 2020. It's not working this time because people saw 4 years of Kamala Harris.
And the problem is it's two voting blocks. It's Blacks, Latinos, people of color, and young voters.
And we were also the first to do reporting on Blacks and Latino voters early this year on them turning to Trump. For sure, by summer, we did multiple videos that they would be the deciding factor in this election. Lo and behold, now all the polls are catching up and all the early votes are coming in, and there is a suppression that is Black and Latino voters in urban areas are not coming out, but Black and Latino voters are coming out in greater numbers in rural areas, and rural areas tend to go Republican. The urban areas tend to go Democrat, and that's where they could not get Latinos and they could not get Blacks excited about Kamala Harris in the cities.
They're not seeing the turnout yet that they feel that they're going to need. So the issue is, can you make it up in the suburbs or with older voters, as you talked about with Ann the other day? But something's got to give. Otherwise, it's hard to see, where the numbers are going to come from.
So their only hope now is older voters in suburbs, which is what helped Joe Biden win. But they have to go visit all those houses in suburbs with their nice yards, spreading them too far apart to properly canvass. Too little, too late. We're going to find out. But the biggest indicator that we haven't talked about yet at all, how do you know Trump's going to win? The Democrats are putting up metal, military-grade walls all around Washington, D.C. to protect them. Because Democrats, and by the way, remember Washington, D.C., in case you think this is about Republicans, no, it's not. Washington, D.C. votes, remember, they're fundraising and they're voting. We learned this from the Chutkin jury pool that they were pulling from. 92% Democrat, 92% Democrat, and boy, are they putting up walls in Washington, D.C. to protect them. This is the number one indicator that Trump is going to win. Why would they be boarding up walls in Seattle and Portland? It's not like those are Republican strongholds. The more Democrats in an urban area, the more this kind of boarding up windows, boarding up walls in preparation for what Democrats do all the time when Trump wins.
I don't know why we have to give money to countries that hate us. They should be able to hate us for free.
I'm Doug, in exile.